What I missed until just a few minutes ago here is the addition in the 2025 class, of Mr. Luke Gilbert. And speaking of the Buckeye
Man,
State, what is Miami
yeah,
doing plucking a tight end out of Westchester, Ohio?
our job. Trying to get the best talent from wherever we can get it. And Luka Gilbert, yeah, committed to Miami the other day. And as you see, has prototypical size, man. 6'7". He's there. It says 233 on his huddle. He says 240, I want to say. But yeah, this is a kid who has good movement skills. The main thing that he does well is block. Like the first 5 plays on his highlight film are him erasing somebody, and he wears number 88, and he's 6'7". So I say those two things to when you click on the huddle, it does not take long to figure out who you're looking for because like he's uncommonly sized, man. So credit to tight ends coach Corey Woodeel for going out there and making that happen. And getting this commitment. This is a kid who I think, might be a longer term kind of a guy. Maybe ramp, increasing at an increasing rate. So the graph that kind of does that. So maybe not a day one contributor, but somebody who can develop. Does need to work on his comfortability in space and the ability to catch the ball. He's, I mean, when you run tight end pop pass in high school, like, first of all, it's pretty much always open. Like, just hut, 1, 2, 2 steps or pat the ball and then just the tight end, like right up the seam, right where the linebacker usually would have been, or they vacated from there based upon reading keys and doing something else. But pop pass is always going to be there, and he caught a lot of those. But like you see Elijah Lofton making all of these circus catches in practice and everything. I don't believe that Luka Gilbert is that kind of pass catcher to do those kind of things naturally. So that's an area for growth for him. But like, yeah, this is a kid with really, really, really good size. I was talking to my good friend Fred Purdue. I don't know if he's watching it right now. We used to host a podcast years ago. And he likes to come on my phone and play like he doesn't understand how football works sometimes, just for the sake of argument, which really makes me angry. But as we were watching the Luka Gilbert film, he was like, "Man, I I want to see him run like in a straight line more because I don't know about his feet, tight end." And I said, "Hey, man, there was a time that we recruited a 4-star, 5-star offensive tight end, had him redshirt, hit the protein shakes in the weight room, gain a little bit of weight, move him to offensive line, and that player was Eric Winston." So just gonna throw that out there. I'm not saying that Luka Gilbert is going in that way. He, I think, does have the ability to stay at tight end. But like, after watching what he does on the field, would I be super mad if we tried that same kind of growth and development path and position change? I would not be mad at it. But like I said, that was me creating headcanon and making a comparison to something else. Not saying that is what Miami is trying to do with Luka Gilbert, who, like I said, I do believe can stick at tight end. He will just need maybe a little bit of time to develop his pass catching ability. And I'll say it because I know that you are thinking it. Yes, Mr. Gilbert, as he moves down to South Florida, will need a mango season.
Yes, 22 offers, and from the major players in the region: Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Michigan State, Pitt, and others, and even across the nation, places like Texas A&M, Louisville, and
Yeah.
others. And Iowa typically knows something about developing tight ends, and they threw him an offer as well.
And I will say 2 things. One, Acorn fans from the school where Jeremiah Smith now plies his trade tried to say that they were not recruiting this kid. And then like everybody pulled up screenshots and be like, bro, like he visited Columbus like 7 times in the last 14 months. Like, what are we talking about? Y'all weren't, stop it. And 2, and I don't want to drill down on this now because of time and focus, but we can revisit this. Historically, all time, I'm taking Miami. However, present day, tight end Iowa. Yeah.
So that will be a
I'm
great
there.
conversation, but I don't necessarily know that it's a great conversation other than us agreeing, because I'm right
Right.
there. I think it's Iowa the last 15 years,
Yeah.
and I'm almost 100% positive. I would have to do the due diligence of going through the entirety of uh, the last, let's say, 40 or 45 years, but I do
Right.
believe that Miami is still produced more and better talent at the next level overall. But yeah, Iowa's
Right.
been
Yeah.
crazy good
Yeah.
recently. And yeah, I don't know why fan bases get defensive, especially when their recruiting doesn't need any defense. But,
Right.
you can admit to losing
Yeah.
out on players. It's not
Right.
the end of the
What
world.
happens all the time. Like we talk about it on here. Like, like I just mentioned, the player formerly number 4 at Chaminade. You know what I mean? Like it happens every day, B.
And I know you don't want this player ever mentioned, but you just mentioned the player, and I will say that everybody I know that's connected with Ohio State as beat writers just say, "Oh
That's,
man, he just," and they've been watching Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave and Marvin Harrison Jr. and all those guys.
you understand the foundation of my consternation, because we knew this wasn't. We knew. We knew he's that guy. Like it wasn't even like somebody who was really good who like developed over time, or like no, like this is a transformational, generational. We haven't seen one of these from here, especially in, I don't know, ever. And I don't know that we're going to see another one like that. I mean, like, geez, that's the foundation of where, yeah, my my negative emotion comes from, because yeah, he's
And
like that.
again, just to underline, I don't need to do this for you, but for everybody else, these are guys that have been watching the best wide receiver room in the country for the last 5 or so years, and they're still saying
Yes,
this guy's different.
again, but even when you like would go, and I've been around the world of recruiting since, geez, when I started teaching in '05. I mean, I followed it even before that, with the signing day newspapers, and the back then when it was like ESPN would have 2 hours or something, and then like exhaustively on the college football video game, and like really understanding. Like I've been around this for 20 something years. I've seen lots of players at this point. Different. Like there are guys who jump off the field. Long story short, when Monarch had Sean Burgess-Becker and Calvin Ridley as juniors in high school, Burgess-Becker was the more big time recruit. They came down to Miramar High School to play Miramar in the first round. Everybody's like, "Oh, number two, number two, number two." I was like, "This number 8 kid, the other one, Ridley, that's the guy." Because like Miramar played Ely back when Patrick Peterson, then his last name was Johnson, but when he was in high school, and they jump off the screen like it's a 4D movie, man. Like as I'm sitting in the press box, like they jump off the field like they look different. And even among all of those that we've seen and everything, everybody can agree the artist formerly known as number 4 at Chaminade was different than the differenter, than the Judy, than the Ridley, than the other Ridley, than the Amari Cooper, than all of them are in the list. But as I said to someone in a meeting one time, like, or actually, no, I said it to a friend about Jonathan Groff in Hamilton. In a cast of stars, he is the sun. That's this guy.
Yeah, and I would normally extend some hope because we are in a transfer portal era. So who knows when you have relationships with somebody and then they come back. But Ohio State hasn't, and it will happen at some point, but they haven't lost anybody that they've wanted during this transfer portal era. The only 2 close ones I can think of is Jameson Williams, but man, he was buried. He wasn't doing anything there. when he left. And then just a couple days ago, Dallin Hayden, who's a really good back, he's going to be a really good back somewhere. But he was number 3. And again, he wasn't getting carries, only played 2 games last year.
Bingo.
But Falconer, what you got? But can we keep Luka Gilbert until signing?
Sure, why not? I mean, we've gone into other people's backyards all across the country. Miami, I mean, I know that, look, Miami does not get everybody. No team gets everybody. Not even Georgia, not even Alabama, not even O State. Nobody gets every single player that they are recruiting. I mean, look at Justin Scott. He was committed to O State, right? Where is he currently? On campus at the University of Miami. You know what I mean? So, you're going to lose guys. But, again, Miami is a top-tier program. We're going to recruit. We have the Canes Connection NIL that they're going to, spend the money to get the guys and, through recruiting and through retention, right? So they're going to have that. And I've said this about coaches also, we will go get somebody up off their good job and we will go get you up off of your blue chip All-American recruit. Now, will he stay or will he go or, whatever, not to quote songs or anything, that is to be determined. But it is unquestionably true that Miami has the ability to keep or get any recruit, whether they're committed here or elsewhere. Whether they do or not is the thing that we'll see.
I am guessing Falconer's angle here is, or maybe this is just my Ohio State perspective, is that on the Ohio State side,
right,
every time they get a commit from South Florida, the guys are like, that's great, so forth and so on, but let's just wait and see because a number are lost. Yeah.
But the thing about it is, it's been running backs. And it's not even been all of them because y'all got Marcus Burke something. It wasn't Marcus Burke. He was committed to Marcus Crowley, excuse me. He was committed to Miami, and then he goes there. The last 2 years has been Mark Fletcher and Jordan Lyle. Great, cool, fine, whatever. But again, considering our whole entire conversation, if you had to give up a Mark Fletcher and a Jordan Lyle for the artist formerly known as number 4 from Chaminade, y'all are everybody's making that trade every day of the week, twice on Sunday. Falconer also making another great point with the next super chat. Clemson is 100% correct to not use the portal. Absolutely. I agree with Dabo and his operational choice to completely ignore the portal and this new way to add talent to your rosters and potentially optimize your roster by, addition and subtraction. I agree with him to ignore this, to operate in an antiquated way that does not leverage this in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and rely only on the strength of what they have done with no growth towards the future. I agree with Falconer and his point, and also to Dabo Swinney and his operational presence. Absolutely. Great job, Dabo. Keep that specific thing of not using the portal exactly where it is, because that is the right choice for you. And you know what? I empower you to make the choices for yourself that you think are best. And if you think that is best for you and your program, who are me to disagree with you? Great job, Dabo. Keep doing that exact same thing.
I happen to think that Dabo Swinney has proven to be a great football coach. However, I do not understand this position. I understand the position at the outset of the transfer portal. If we go back 3 years, in a sense, in saying we still want the foundation to be high school recruiting and then supplement with the transfer portal before any of us knew how crazy it was going to be. But clearly, we see the best teams in the country have significant contributions from transfer players. I don't know how they're going to be able to keep that up. I would expect, I don't know if he's just flat out stubborn. He can't be that. I'm not even going to use the word stupid. It's the first one that comes to mind. Naive or just
obtuse,
stubborn or just not understanding or seeing what's happening.
I mean, hey, I don't know. But like I said, who are me to disagree with Dabo making the choices to do what is best for his program? But yeah, ignoring that. I mean, like, there are clear holes on the roster that can be plugged with transfers. I mean, we've seen it in so many places. But hey, and like the foundation of the Miami Hurricanes roster is recruiting. Full stop. Like, yes, we are sprinkling in the transfers on top, but this is not the mercenary look that Deion Sanders is taking at Colorado, where he brings in a handful of guys who, in a normal year, Jordan Seaton's probably not a 5-star because I mean, maybe he ends up being that guy, but like in a normal offensive tackle year, like 2 years ago with like Pancake Okunlola and Maui Noah and Caden, what's his face from Alabama, bro, he's not a 5-star like that. But it was a little bit of a down year and everything cool. But like, I don't know that he even stays a tackle. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But then you have only a couple of other guys. You just had a starting safety who's going to go into the portal from Colorado the other day and everything. He's not building a program. He's building teams of mercenaries. And it's a great sound bite to say, yeah, I don't do in-home visits and I don't visit schools because I'm Deion Sanders. And if I go one place, then the other schools are going to feel some kind of way. And da-da-da-da. You think that Nicholas Marquand Saban didn't have that? You know what I mean? I don't know that his middle name, but like, you think that, I mean, when he was coming down here to recruit Gervin Hall, this is Nick Saban, right? He landed the helicopter on the football field at Palm Beach Central, right? And there's more football talent in South Florida you can shake a stick at. And he went from there, and then he had a St. Thomas, and he had a Central. I don't even think he went to Central, as a matter of fact, right? But he went to the schools that he went to, and then left. And then look, I'm gonna send you an email. I'm gonna give you a call, coach. Maybe we hop on the Zoom, coach. Look, love your program, whatever you have going over there at Homestead Senior High School with the Broncos. Love that. It's just a little bit too far south, all the way by the Keys. Wasn't able to get down there. But you know what? We're going to have a coach's clinic in June. We'd love to see you out there. Continue to da-da-da-da-da. You can do all of that. You think come on, man. You are not the only coach in the game. You think that Kirby Smart goes anywhere in the state of Georgia, any district, and they just say, oh, it's cool. You went to Carrollton, but not to West Carrollton. That you went to, Grayson, but not East Grayson or whatever the neighboring school is. He's not the only one. And he has this prime time view of himself. And I get it. But like, what he is voicing is a concern that everyone has. You think Mario Cristobal is going to go somewhere, right? And then if Mario Cristobal went out to Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas, you think that he's not going to Desert Palm, I think is the high school that what was his name? Number 0 for Georgia, Darnell Washington went to, right? You think they're going to be okay with that, right? It's just, this is a thing that everybody has to deal with. But then saying, okay, cool, I'm not going to visit anybody. I'm not going into anybody's home for a recruit. So no, sit there on the couch and Howard Schnellenberger leave the pipe on I'm not doing any of that at all. No, none of those visits, no school visits, because I'm worried about what the regional fallout will be if I go to this school and that school and not this other school, because apparently he doesn't have a communications department that understands how to leverage communications and a high school relations staff that is building all those relationships, and then you sprinkle Deion on top. No, he doesn't have that. So what is he doing? Spending that NIL money, all that Fox TV money from the early September games where they had those ratings. He's spending that money to build a mercenary squad, but to build a program, or in the words of Kevin Steele, a program that will maintain itself over time when you have attrition by graduation or defection or other, and then you replace them with someone else. He's not doing that. But luckily for you and me, Miami Hurricanes, alums, fans, supporters, all of that, Mario Cristobal is taking a very different approach. and basing everything around high school recruiting and sprinkling in a little bit. And then you have Dabo, who started this whole conversation, who's doing the high school recruiting, and then that's it. So, basically taking that chicken out of the pack, putting it on the tray, and then roasting it. Not any salt, not any pepper, not even a little paprika, not even a little Italian seasoning, just chicken, oven. That's it. Hey, I like mine with some sazon. I like mine with some, some seasoning. And that's what we're getting with Mario Cristobal. And hopefully it's a great gourmet meal when we hit the field this year. Like how I did that. I like how I did that. You're welcome.
Well done. I always enjoy how you do it. I don't know which direction it's going to go, but of course you've got a flair for the culinary aspect of things, so it sometimes goes in that direction.
Yeah, and honestly, with some of those, I don't know which way it's going to go either, but I enjoy it.